Gary, we'll talk about the new manager in a moment, but lots of other bits and pieces to talk about. First of all, congratulations to you and the staff and the coaches and the players. It's been a tremendous achievement.
And the supporters, yeah. No, thanks, Jeff. It's been fantastic. So, I mean, I feel honoured actually to be in this role, but especially honoured given what everybody's achieved. You know, I mean, it's phenomenal, and for me, I mean, personally as a fan from a nipper all the way through here, it never, that never leaves you, and so there's this unbelievable excitement within me as that supporter. But at the end of the day, we've got to crack on now and deal with the serious business of moving in the Championship, and there's a lot of hard work to do. So my feet are on the ground, and people are asking, "Are you actually happy?" Well, no, I'm just I'm just focused now on next year, on next season. So.
But at the beginning of the season, what would have been the expectation? I think most fans thought top 10 would be nice, but I mean, to stand a chance of winning the actual league come the final day is massive.
I think whenever you get promoted into up to the next level, you're always happy with that final place that guarantees, it's a consolidation period. So for me, it was, literally fifth from bottom would have been acceptable. This season. What we knew though was, I mean, we had recruited, only going back, Mick in his previous role, in his previous role then, with Nathan, we recruited some great players in League Two that got us promoted out of that, and we recruited them with the intent that they would be League One players challenging for the Championship. So it was no surprise at all that we once we got going this season, that we went on a run. No surprise at all, and and secretly at the beginning of the season we probably felt that we could probably give the playoffs a push, but we kept that quite quiet.
And then when Nathan left and Mick took over, was it hard convincing him just to stay on until the end of the season?
No. I mean, look. I mean, I think it was hard for him to be committed, but Mick just loves this club, and he loves being a part of it, and he'll do anything for us. He'll walk over hot coals for us, and we love him for that. This is my opportunity to big him up now, isn't it? Actually, but there isn't a man who's been at this football club who's just got so much dedication for the cause, and we're just so lucky to have him.
And he's going to get a tremendous reception on Saturday, isn't he? My word.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'll join in on that, and I think everybody will. So yeah, just looking forward to it.
So the appointment has been made, and I kind of think most of us kind of knew it was going to be Graham Jones. Just give us the reasons why.
Well, we knew Graham from a distance, going back some time, and he's had an illustrious career as an assistant manager. He's got an excellent pedigree. I don't think there's been, if you look at him as effectively manager, strictly speaking, it's 1st of June when he takes over. But if you think when he takes over, we've not probably had a manager ever that's got the kind of pedigree that Graham's had, or Graham's got, where he's effectively managed or coached World Cup players on the stage, and arguably they might have been the best team in the world at that time. But through Premier League, Championship, but actually what we quite like about him as well, that he's played from non-league football all the way through in the lower levels. So actually he's really grounded. He's connected with the kind of culture we've got. So when we met him, you can see that he's a very honest, honourable man, straight. And we like that for obvious reasons. That's what we are. We like to think of ourselves at least as that. So I think, from a character point of view, fit in instantly, and has done. Actually, we've been working with him for a long time now, so he has done. I think in terms of his football brain, his ability, he's got his own style, and this is why I think we're really so lucky to be able to have tempted him into management. And I'm amazed that he hasn't done it before, because Graham's got his own mind. He's got his own ideas on football philosophy, on how to play. Those ideas are very, very similar to the way we want to entertain as a club. They won't be too far away from the type of football we're playing at the moment, so it won't need, huge amount of personnel change within the squad. Only just really improvement where we can get that. And likewise with the staff and coaches, we've got coaches here that we want to be a stable club. Stability means you keep as many people as you can for as long as you can, as long as they can contribute in the right way. And so we also had that discussion, and we think that the people here can also contribute next season. So from all of those aspects, of course there'll be a one or two people that he'll want to bring in. But going up to the Championship, we'll probably want to bolster the staff anyway, so it actually works perfectly. But I think from a character perspective, it's fantastic. Of course, you might ask about, he's never managed before, so is that a risk? I don't think so. Nathan was a similar risk, and that paid off very, very well. So I think where we are, we're a football club that has to be bold, has to do things differently to be able to compete. If we do what everyone else does, then we will only really compete as far as our budget will allow, and that will probably mean that we're bottom of the league.
And by all accounts, at some of the other places he's been, he takes on a pretty hands-on role anyway. He wasn't kind of a coach. He did a lot of the stuff was down to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean he lets the manager really properly manage, and he's really has been the chief coach, the head coach wherever he's been in the past. Roberto gave him an awful lot of authority within the structure when he worked with him for 11 years, worked with Roberto, and likewise Darren Moore did the same. So we know an awful lot about what he's contributed to those clubs, and he's done almost half the manager's job anyway in the past.
To compete in the Championship, you look at the budgets of some of these sides; they are massive. Yeah. How many are Luton going to need realistically to compete at a reasonable level?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about how much more money we get, from broadcast rights, sponsorship rights, etc., from the league, and yeah, I mean, it is a significant increase, but it's probably only about, I don't know, a third of the increase that you might need to spend to be an average payer of salaries for footballers. So actually, it's going to become much more difficult for us to compete at that level, because at the end of the day, we're filling Kenilworth Road. We're maxing out our income broadly in League One. Other than that uplift in broadcast income, there's not a lot else we can get. So we've got to be realistic about that. And the one thing that I and we as a board will refuse to do is to overstretch. We won't risk. We've had too much of that in the past. We won't risk the football club's finances to chase an ambitious dream. We'll only bring in a squad that we can afford. So the pressure's on Mick, actually. So this is really all about recruitment in our view, and playing style. So we are going to be asking an awful lot from our scouts and recruitment team, but also of the manager and the coaches to get the best out of players too. It's going to be a challenge.
And finding nuggets like a Jack Stacey for not much money and developing him, because you're not going to get Championship Premier League players because of their wages.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I mean, all of our players have been nuggets, haven't they? We've got a team of nuggets. In the way you put it, but it's I think it's what we're good at. We are very, very good. I mean, actually, we praise Mick for being such a grounded, safe pair of hands for the second half of the season, the business end of that season. But actually, what he's particularly good at is identifying players that fit into our footballing style. So we've got a lot of confidence that we can continue that, and in the Championship, Graham obviously will know the league, know the players. He has a very, very specific list of requirements from what he wants from character of players and the way they play, and so he's been working on that as well, actually. So there's going to be quite a few exchanges of ideas over the next few days, because the one thing so far is that Graham's been quite respectful in keeping well away from the operation here, and he wanted that. just to ensure that Mick it has got the space and room to manage his way. So he hasn't interfered at all, and actually, Graham's even saying now, since he's been announced, that he doesn't want a part of the celebrations, because they're mixed celebrations. There are celebrations. He wants to start his job from next season, effectively. But in doing that, he has been working very hard in identifying those players that we're going to need just to top up the quality, I would say.
I think most fans realise the step up from League One to Championship is absolutely huge. It's probably similar to Championship to Premier League. It's that kind of gap.
Yeah, it's a big chasm, massive gulf. But we say if you're good enough to go up, you're good enough to stay up. I think, and so we've got to have that confidence. We've got to have that belief. And at the moment, to give you an idea, we're performing in League One around about 7 or 8 places above our budget in the table. So if we can achieve that in the Championship too, then job done for next season. And then we work to build again the season after. So that bodes well. But I think we've got to be confident that we can stay in it. And I think genuinely, you asked me about this season, for example, what our expectations were. I think genuinely our expectations for next season would really literally to be fourth and bottom. I think fourth and bottom plus would be an absolute delight.
And we've spoken about the nuggets, the golden nuggets. If you're going to survive in the Championship, you need your best players, and there's going to be a lot of interest, particularly in the fullbacks. Are you going to keep the clubs from your door?
Well, no, we're not going to keep they're knocking. They've been knocking for months. They're going to be knocking for the next few weeks. We are able to be strong. We're absolutely able. I think we're good in the negotiation. I think we're good in terms of protecting the squad assets that we've got. And players do want to be here. They do want to be here. We've had a lot of players choose to join us, turning away more money elsewhere. We've had a lot of players refuse to leave, turning away more money elsewhere. So we've got to hope that that's still the case too. We probably won't be the biggest payers of salary as a Championship club. Well, we definitely won't be. So I'm sure there's going to be players that are going to have their heads turned by bigger sums of money. And therefore I can't guarantee that players won't go. But one thing we can guarantee is that they won't go without a more than adequate replacement.
And just a final one from me. When the fans sung after 20 minutes in that game a few weeks back, they'd probably like to do that again on Saturday. How will you feel at that moment?
Awkward. We don't. None of us involved really don't do this job for the credit. We've got a saying, and we've got boards up around the place saying, it's amazing how much you can achieve when no individual wants to take the credit, and that's absolutely right. Fans can sing what they want to sing, but for us, it's I think the people that they should be chanting the name of the 11 on the pitch and maybe the one off it, but we are proud, and we're it's a deep honour that our fellow supporters recognise that we're doing a good job, and I can't say more than that really. I think so we thank them for it, but yeah, maybe 20 minutes cheer, Mick.
How did you watch the finish that actually happened on Tuesday night, and obviously Portsmouth lost, and you knew you were up?
I was yelling my head off at the time, I think, and with the family. I was only at home with the family, and just I think we were just had the kids that jumping around the room and just having a wife opening a bottle of champagne who was desperate to do it, so yeah, we exploded a bit, and yeah, it was an amazing feeling. You in a way, ideal world, we'd love to have done it at home in front of the crowd, but actually I'm not gonna. I'm glad it happened the way it is. And what was nice about it, Mike, is the fact that Sunderland did their bit as well, and it was a loss for Portsmouth. And I don't want to celebrate anyone's loss generally, but it was a loss for Portsmouth, meaning that it was a guarantee for us, because that little thing about Sunderland having to overturn 15 goals or whatever it would be would have just taken the edge off that instantaneous, spontaneous reaction that we had, and actually it meant that Saturday couldn't quite go ahead in the way it is now, and so I'm quite pleased that it was absolutely guaranteed.
When you started the stadium project, I'm assuming being in the Championship was probably the dream at that point. You're well ahead of the game now.
No, not a dream, a reality. More than a dream. We knew it would happen, and if it didn't happen this season, it would happen next or the season after. We're determined people. We're ambitious people. We might not have the money just to buy it, but we find a way. So no, it was always the plan back in 2008 when we come together as a consortium, as a group, that this would be the case. And actually, I have a dream of being in the Champions League. I don't have a dream of being in the Championship, and the Premier League will also be a reality one day.
Is there a stage of the season where, sort of after the season, where you thought we can do it? I know you're top of the league. When was the sort of moment you sort of thought we can actually go up?
Yeah, actually, it's quite early when I thought, we're the best team in the league here. I think it's quite early, even when we had some average results at the beginning, and so I think it was early as sort of early October. I seem to remember thinking, especially when we buy an awful lot of statistical analysis in, and all of a sudden we were something like 14th in the table, but we were second in the statistical analysis table, in that where it was all about how many expected goals we were getting, so, and various other things where we were lying second in that table, and we were playing well, we're just not scoring. We're not, we had that issue, so we knew we could probably overturn that, and so actually we were also quite hopeful from quite early on.
Just on Graham Jones, you could have got him in February, I think it was August after then, but how commendable is the loyalty that he chose to start to...
Well, it was both of us, I've got to say. We, and I have to say, the day after Nathan departed, we contacted Graham and West Brom. So we didn't contact anyone else. It was the sole candidate that we wanted to speak to immediately. And from the day we spoke, when Graham said, I'd be very, very interested in the job, but I can't take the job because I'm committed, it basically meant he was more valuable to us. It meant it was right for us, because our feelings on this, Mike, that we didn't really want to disrupt another club season, especially in the middle of a transfer window when we were there then, and being in a position where we had to find a new manager at that point. It didn't sit well with us, and thank God for Mick, because we had someone in the building that could take the reins immediately. If we hadn't had Mick or somebody to do that, then it would be, I don't think we'd be in the position we are now, certainly, for sure. So, but Graham was adamant that he was going to be loyal to his contract and loyal to Darren too, and that is something we really appreciate. And Graham, a couple of other things there. I mean, we, after getting permission from West Brom, appropriate permission, because he had a sort of termination period, therefore we needed to have that conversation with him in order for him to come in the summer. When we got that permission from West Brom, and we sat down with Graham, with the view that he would start in the summer, as he is now, which Mick was a part of the process in that, as recruitment manager, was a part of the process in that too. We then just left it until he was asked to leave West Brom, which put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit, from the point of view of well, actually it was quite easy. That, I mean, we'd given our commitment to Mick, so Mick was gonna stay for the rest of the season always, and then Graham becoming available actually was a bit of a godsend in the end, because ultimately once he'd finally finished at West Brom, and was clear, then he could crack on with the recruitment role and start identifying players for himself, which actually is a really fortunate position for the manager to be in, actually. So so it worked out in a way really well. But I think he you know, you can tell that he's an honourable man, and we quite like that.
And just to give the awards recently, you got the outstanding contribution to the club at the end of season awards.
Yeah, just again a little bit. I was really stunned and awkward. It was an awkward feeling for me, but lovely. I mean, it was you know, I was really honoured by that, and it's a little bit, you know, it's the same thing that Shin's won the Players Player of the Year, you know, and for you know, I'm a supporter. For supporters to recognise supporters is great. It's fantastic, and I thank everyone for that. And it's up to them to decide whether I deserve it or not. My view is, you know, this is a paid job. It should probably go to someone who's more unsung, but they believe I am, and that's a real deep honour. So I thank them for that.
I think Jeff, with Power Call and everything in Newlands Park, and what is now the latest in terms of that?
Well, the latest is everything's good. We've got to conclude our Section 106 agreement with the council, and then that 6-week period of the JR, with potential JR challenge, kicks in. So I think by the time we kick off in the Championship, we'll know precisely what the score is. Yeah.
Gary, many congratulations again.
Thank you.
Forgive the play on words, but Tuesday we were still in April. It must have been so sweet that it was 10 years ago, April, the club was relegated from the Football League. 5 years ago, April, they came back up, and now back-to-back promotions.
Who knows what's going to happen in 5 years' time?
Well, you're talking about the Champions League. I just want to say that no triumph this season, whether it's the Champions League down to Bannerman and North, could be as again forgive the plan as sweet as this. Up and down the football scale, back-to-back promotions after everything that's happened. I mean, the resentment of the fans is still burning. If you look at the corner to the left of the press box, of what they got to say about the FA. And Mick still talks about the dark days. This must be just so enjoyable.
It defines us, doesn't it? You know, our histories define us, and at the end of the day, you know, that it was, you know, what the previous owners of the football club did was wrong. But the punishment, I still say now, I mean, everybody else does say, everybody, you know, even people at the Football League and the FA say the punishment did not fit the crime. And so, absolutely right, we still feel bitter. And, you know, the day I leave this position, I will still feel bitter, and so will everybody else. But that actually we turn into a positive. It's an energy that we then focus. And what we've done is prove people wrong. So, you know, I do think they were trying to make an example of a football club. They chose the wrong one.
Back-to-back promotions couldn't be a better answer.
No.
Has it strengthened the spirit of the club then? Because
Yeah,
it
of course.
almost made you, you know, the fans sort of come together.
Absolutely, it's like one of the, you know, when you're in a game and the referee's decision a couple of times goes against you, all of a sudden you've got the crowd behind the team a little bit more, and you know that's what's happened on a longer term scale with us actually, and we've just known not just how to use it, but because it's a genuine feeling of angst, but we know how to channel that, not in a negative way, but in a very positive way. And I think actually the FA and the Football League should thank us for the way we've managed that.
You look at the Johnson Page Day at Wembley that I was at, and there's 45,000 people. It just shows you the kind of depth of passion there is for this club in this area, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but Luton's always had that. You know, even before those decisions, we've always had a special fan base. And I know an awful lot of clubs say we've got the best fans in the world. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. Ours are really quite special. They're really something else. They are. Well, it doesn't matter. We got those communities. Those communities spread far and wide. They live in Scandinavia. They live in Canada. They live in Singapore. They live everywhere. Actually, in Holland. I mean, we've got Italian supporters groups now that come in regularly to the game. You know, because they feel a kinship with it. And communities aren't about necessarily people being born in the town or coming from the town or living in the town. It can be created by a kinship and an association, whether that be a moral or ethical, or which actually I think is happening with some of the things stances we're taking on some of those issues, like gambling and living wage and some of the things we do for equality, people do feel a kinship with Luton now. And on that basis, you know, we're happy to accept them into the fold, right? Because they're one of us. Doesn't matter where they're born. So those communities are growing. You know, we've got a growing fan base. I think we need to really review the capacity of our court.
Can I just ask Gary, when you were speaking to Graham, the club was, I think it was well in the middle of an unbeaten run at that point.
Yeah.
But when Nathan left, actually, you know, it started in October, didn't end until
Yeah.
April. Graham obviously would have been aware of the name the club was making for itself on the field, the position of the club on the table. But I'm taking it, and then of course the changes at West Brom meant he was available. But he must have been pretty clear he was coming and whatever, should the club not have gone out.
Yeah, he committed to Luton Town Football Club without knowing what league we were in. And actually, when he agreed in January and he committed early February. So you can I mean, so we've held that to our chest since then.
Mm-hmm.
We've known for a fact that he'd been taking over since early February, but he committed back then. Never once did he turn us down, as speculation has had it before. He has never turned us down. All he said was that he cannot join us until the summer because he's committed to his current contract.
I asked the question because football's right. You know, things.
So if we gosh, shudder the thought.
No.
If we hadn't have made it across the line and we're a League One club, we would be making the announcement after Saturday that Graham was joining.
But we haven't anyway, so we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, I mean, the only other thing I'd like to say, you mentioned the other Jones there, Nathan, and you know, the success we've achieved this season is absolutely, a lot of it is down to Nathan Jones to start that and for Mick to finish it. So, you know, whilst as a club, as a support base, we absolutely didn't agree with the way it happened and the way I think he conducted himself at the time. We have to give him a big round of applause and pat on the back for everything he's done prior to that and leading up to January, because without that, Mick wouldn't be taking over that momentum and we wouldn't have crossed the line.
Has Nathan been in touch to say congratulations?
Yes, he has. Yeah, he's congratulated us. So, which is nice.